I understand that you actually read Syahredzan Johan's article, his op-ed in another publication, and that piqued your interest, and then you got in touch with him. What was his reaction? How did he take to your invitation to talk to you?
Yeah, he was very welcoming.
Yeah.
I think this is a topic that really needs to be aired.
In terms of where the political narrative is, in terms of where ideologies are on national unity in Malaysia?
See, the reason he wrote that op-ed was because the politicking that was going on during the campaigning for the, especially the Cameron Highlands
by-election, right?
By-election, and then after that the Semenyih by-election, some very inflammatory statements were being made, on the platform, on the campaigning platforms. So he felt that this was a time where people ought to speak up. So he did put in a very good piece to the press.
Yeah, I read your piece with him, and it was very interesting because he points to the core of the country, which is the Constitution, and I think that's the correct barometer, if you like, for how our very, very young country is going to go forward. In your point of view, this whole discussion on national unity, do you think it's getting traction, or do you think the temperature is really moving far towards the right, as Syahredzan is concerned about?
Well, I see it as an opportunity for Malaysians of all walks of life to have a re-look at the kind of discourse that has been going on, because as Syahredzan says in his interview with me, sees that the opportunity for the dialogue among the various communities did not exist so much during the rule of the Barisan Nasional government, because it was in the interest of the Barisan Nasional led by UMNO to maintain this racial divide. So only after the change of government, then only did the opportunity present for a new platform to discuss these issues.
So, Syahredzan Johan is obviously quite a vocal critic about this issue, but there's not that many out there. How does your coverage of this issue evolve and progress going forward? Because obviously there's another 4 years of the Pakatan government, in terms of that goodwill going forward, right? How are you going to let your coverage go forward on this issue?
Yes, actually, when I, after taking up this opportunity with Syahredzan, I realized that this would be a very good platform to encourage like-minded persons, with very inclusive views of how our society should function, to give them space to articulate how our the discourse has become very narrow, and how we need to relook at whether we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, so the Edge is known as a business and financial paper, right? Not necessarily a political or current affairs paper. So do you, speaking from your perspective, do you think the Edge will be more embracing of this kind of coverage going forward? And so what kind of slant will it take?
Well, interestingly, I think the economic future of the country will be very much affected by whether or not our society is able to break out of this narrow communal kind of a framework that it's got almost got stuck in. So I think this is very much relevant to our future and the business and the a healthy business environment.
Going beyond the confines of print, video and other social media platforms, to get more of the more the inclusivist agenda more out there. Do you think that yourself included, would you think there would be more platforms available to these kinds of discussion within Edge or even without of the Edge?
Well, the good thing about social media and the new media is that these issues, that if they resonate with the wider audience, then they have a tendency to take on a life of their own. So what we can do is that we can feed feed these kind of discussions into the public domain, and then see where it goes from there. Hopefully, more people will be able to be inspired by the broader, more inclusive discussion that we are trying to promote.
Especially now, in the past, right, under the BN era, there was a lack of courage, if you like, on social media to speak out on these issues because of the censorship of censoring of these opinions. How does coverage of the more exclusive or more neutral, inclusivist agenda will it take place in the age going forward?
Well, I think we are very much encouraged by the new openness, but I would say that the age has always been very forthcoming with issues that matter.
Yeah.
So we can do what we have been doing and do more of it. I think that's what we can hope for in this new environment.
And then you personally, how are you going to approach coverage of this? I mean, because I know you're very passionate about these, human rights agendas, civil liberties agendas, sociological agendas. I know that's your passion. How are you going to approach this coming year in terms of your coverage?
Well, I'm very glad that people like Syahredzan are very willing to come forward and articulate all the nuances in our national discourse that actually people need to have a better understanding about. Like he talks about the misinterpretation of the constitutional provision, Article 153, about the special position of the Malays. Similarly, there are many other people like from the G25 group of prominent Malays and many other people who are very willing to help bring forward this discourse.
For more on this story, pick up a copy of The Edge Weekly at all good newsstands.